From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is a severe weather alert.
Yeah.
Well, I was about to say good evening. It is now good morning, everybody. It's 12:35. Meteorologist Taylor Plott here alongside Chief Meteorologist Fred Gossage and Meteorologist Chase Wilson. Ben Luna has finally gone back to his house, being able to get some good rest this evening after we had a long evening so far, and it's still going here. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning that is issued here for far southeastern Limestone County, southern Madison County, and far northern Morgan County. It does clip parts of Marshall County as well. This goes until 1:30 this morning. The main threat with this is damaging straight line winds and the chance at some, I would say, isolated pea to nickel size hail. There is a little bit of rotation in this, but it's right along the boundary, so it's kind of hard to tell if this storm's actually latched onto it versus not. It's very close. There's a little bit of a notch here right along the New Hope area here just south of Mooresville. Let's get a storm track on this, Chase, and this will track mostly outside of our viewing area towards the Madison County line, but there's still going to be some Morgan County aspect to it here. So this is going to be right on top of the International Airport right now. Bluff City at 12:39, Triana at 12:41, Toluca at 12:45, Vallehermoso Springs at 12:50, along with Lacey Spring at 12:54, Redstone Park 12:55, Lily Flag, that's on the south part of Huntsville right here along Highway 231 Memorial Parkway. That's around 12:55. Ditto Landing down there at the Tennessee River 12:56, Hobbs Island at 1 o'clock. Hampton Cove 101, Owens Crossroads 105, New Hope 112, Paint Rock 115, and Woodville at 120. That's the far eastern side of Madison County and far western side of Jackson County. So it looks like they did kind of clip Jackson County as well here. So again, this is for a severe thunderstorm warning. No tornado warning on this right now, but like what we mentioned, it's kind of really close to the boundary. Chase, if you want to look at that velocity data, kind of want to pick your brain here to see this. There is some rotation here, but it looks like it's very close to the boundary, if not behind it.
I would suggest that it's probably, in fact, we can actually get a little closer to the radar and kind of follow the boundary down, right? So I think we're probably only a mile or two either on it or maybe inching ahead of it, because can you see what I'm talking about here?
I see what you're talking about. With there's your boundary right here, very clearly shown. And
it kind of does this little bit. So we're very close to it, and that's probably a good reason as to why that went severe, because we are seeing that kind of latch right onto it. But matter of fact, let me loop it a little bit, and we can kind of see the progression of that.
That's going to interact with it. If there's going to be a tornado, it's going to be right here.
So we would have to watch that for sure, because that is feeding directly into it. And you know, as you mentioned on velocity, there is kind of that couplet feature right there near New Hope, just now crossing onto runway 18 left, if you want to be nerdy about it.
18 left.
Or 36 left technically. But yeah, that's moving into Triana now. There's some swampy areas there. A lot of new developments down there, by the way.
Yeah, I don't like where that
may be quickly ramping up right there.
Yeah, I would agree with Fred how that's probably quickly ramping up right there as that boundary feeds into it. And put your... Oh, wait, we're not on here, but...
Go ahead, circle it. I would say if you're in Triana, Bluff City, and Toluca, you need to be in your tornado safe spot right now.
I think that's a safe call to make, especially with just how quickly these things go. You know, you want to be on the safe side, for sure.
That lines up very well with the reflectivity structure lines up very well with what we're seeing on velocity right there just northeast of New Hope.
And that's still a good signature that's kind of pushing in towards Triana. I don't know if that reflectivity updated with it.
I think the velocity updated first.
So right there, I know
the boundary actually intersects into the thunderstorm right there too.
Yeah.
Here's your boundary. And then
see that little bright, well, not necessarily that. Look at the little bright one.
Oh, yeah, I see that. I think you'll see a few of these spurious ones just because of the boundary.
No, not that one. Just to the northwest of it. That little red and green right there.
No, yeah, here, yes.
That could be your possible tornado. There could be one there, too.
Yeah.
But that one, right in that area somewhere, there could be a possible tornado that's starting to develop. This is south of New Haven. That's Waltrana Highway that you see right there going south of the Huntsville International Airport in Madison County. So right here, that's Waltrana Highway right here. That's where that possible tornado is located. Again, this is starting to develop right now. This is right along that boundary. Your boundary's right here, and it curves in, and it interacts with the line, that's again where we talk about that's going to have your highest shear potential, and that's where you're going to end up getting some quick spin up tornadoes. So there's a chance that there is a tornado that is developing here right near Triana. If you're in Triana, if you're in Toluca, you need to be in a tornado safe spot right now. I don't think we're dealing with a big significant tornado, but this could be something that quickly spins up an EF0, maybe EF1, and does cause some damage here. And again, this is right in this general area. It's starting to lose its definition, so it could have been that it developed really quick and has now lifted, but there's still enough rotation there that as a course of least regret, Triana, Toluca, you need to be in your tornado safe spot. Over here, that's the Redstone Arsenal land, so there's really not a lot of people that live out here. A lot of this down here is just base. Any people that live on the base are going to be up here towards the Gate 9 and what entrance is that up there? It's the one near Drake Avenue, I believe. Right there near Patton Road.
Yeah, I know what you
Patton
mean.
Road. They're kind of up in this area.
You turn off South Parkway, turn left there.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
So again, most of this will end up going over Arsenal land, but still Triana right now. Toluca, if it makes its way across the Tennessee River on the northern side of Morgan County, be in your tornado safe spot. I don't think you need to be right now in Lacey Springs towards Ditto Landing or the south side of Huntsville. I think this is going to be a quick spin up, so this is mainly going to be right on top of Triana right now. On the north side of that, towards the airport, I don't know if the observation at the airport has registered anything yet, but there could be some pretty hefty wind gusts with it, at least ahead of that line right here. But again, that's that little boundary right here, and it intersects and it starts to interact with it, and you get a little bit of spin right there. So again, that's what we're looking at for a possible tornado here right on top of Triana that could cross the Tennessee River down into northern Morgan County. Are we missing anything off to the southwest?
Yeah, let's check that there real quick just to kind of see.
Because if it's intersecting right here, there's a chance you could get something on this backside right here. There is a little bit right there near Somerville, but not.
I think that's a little more ahead of it.
That's ahead of it.
But let me go back there. Yeah, okay, so that's a little bit ahead of it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you definitely still kind of see that feature there.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I think being in your safe spot is definitely there in Triana what you want to do. You know, you don't want to be by windows during severe storms anyways. You want to be inside. So go ahead and just taking those precautions anyways. That is a smart move in that sense because these things happen just like that. You got something there, Taylor?
A report confirming rotating wall cloud near County Line Road and Highway 72 a few moments ago. Good to the north. That's
up here.
Kind of behind.
County Line Road and 72.
It's going to be up here.
If it was a few moments ago, let's just go back a couple minutes.
Yeah. Go back. It's further north.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at 565.
Right
so let's see here.
That would have been that potentially. Go to reflectivity.
Yeah.
I'm not shocked if they saw a rotating wall cloud with that. That was 1227. That report came in at 1240. He said, I was not going to stick my head outside, but I could see it looking out my window. So I don't know if he's looking at possibly a shelf cloud, but there was some rotation. County Line Road and 72 is right here. So and there was some rotation that went over it.
Yeah, I guess I could believe that report just due to the fact that sort of, let's see where that is relative to the boundary.
That's with it.
Yep, that fed right into it.
You have a little bit of a hook right here, so I would suspect that's probably true.
Yeah.
But the good thing is, if you go forward, again, that was 1223. It's 1243. That was 20 minutes ago.
Now it's well behind.
That is now pushed way out ahead of the boundary. But again, we're still watching this little feature right here, too. That's on top of Redstone Arsenal right now. That is
pretty decent actually here.
It's kind of coming and going. I wonder if it's kind of coming on off the boundary potentially, and you kind of get like an increase in rotation, and then it kind of backs off, it kind of drops a little bit. But that is some really good rotation.
That's the best scan we've had so far.
I would agree with that. Yeah, that definitely looks like it certainly looks better than earlier. And it's doing exactly what you just mentioned there. Up a little bit, down a little bit, up a little bit, and that's what you mean about how transient it is, right?
It is
up and down within a matter of maybe even seconds, but definitely minutes.
Again, trying a safe spot right now. Toluca, safe spot right now. I would go ahead and say if you're near Lacey Spring, get towards that area. I wouldn't say you need to go now, but I would start making preparations to get to your safe spot right now. Same thing for South Huntsville. I know that we have a lot of people that still watch us there in Madison County. I know my family's currently watching right now down there in South Huntsville. If you're in South Huntsville, I would watch this very closely, but same with Lacey Spring. I don't think you need to go there yet, but it's getting close, and that's still a decent signature. But like what we talked about, it's kind of coming and going,
down, yeah.
and it's kind of, I don't know if it's something where if there is something down, it might be skipping or anything, but there's still a decent signature here that there might be a tornado on the ground here just to the east of downtown Triana.
Oh, you got something, Fred?
Yeah,
Before
what's
we have something sketchy happen with a possible warning upgrade or whatever may happen, let's go ahead and do a DMA-wide reflectivity
Yes.
reset. Give everybody that needs it the all clear so they know that they don't have to continue tuning in. They can go to sleep.
Yes.
Let's
So
do
that
that.
we can focus on where a threat may actually develop.
And we sure do have a lot of all clears to
do.
give too. So there's some good news here. It's not all bad news, right?
Yep.
So I'll
Chase, why don't you do that? Why don't you draw?
sure.
Why don't you draw a line and do your kind of like all clear, and then we're still watching stuff.
all right. I'll give you your kind of definite all clears. Like we'll start kind of back here-ish, right? Definitely well behind the line. Of course, you don't want to take it exactly at face value. I'm just kind of drawing a basic area, but anything up here, you're good. Up here in southern Middle Tennessee, we're just fine. We don't have. We're ending those severe weather chances.
All of our Tennessee counties,
Yes.
all of our Tennessee viewing area counties, Hardin, Wayne, Lawrence, Giles, Lewis, Murray, Marshall. We thank you for tuning in tonight, but it's safe for you to tune out for the night. You can go to bed.
Northeast
Go to
Mississippi
bed.
as well too.
Yes,
Yep.
and the same with Lauderdale, Colbert, and Franklin counties in North Alabama.
They've also removed them from the watch, by the way. Just
Good.
Okay,
FYI.
so we're seeing that watch get trimmed, and they've actually removed Lauderdale and Colbert.
Yes,
as
they
well.
moved Lauderdale,
Perfect.
Colbert.
Yeah, so we're seeing that line really start to get undercut a lot, and as it continues to push east, that's when we start to let go of those severe chances. And I'll tell you what, we'll probably over the next hour, maybe hour and a half, 60 to 90 minutes, see that out of Morgan County too. So I think a lot of us are trending nicely as to getting rid of those severe weather chances. But still, of course, we have this ongoing right now. But pretty much, I would say better part of a majority of our area, better part of maybe 80, 90% of us are out of here, but we still have a little bit of a ways to go in
Yeah.
the southern and easternmost portions of the area. We're talking out there towards, portions of Limestone County and Morgan County.
Let's do watch warning real quick.
Yeah, sure.
Because I know, like I said, even though it's technically out of our viewing area, we know we got people that watch us out there. So just a heads up, we do have an extension of that tornado watch. It includes Jackson, DeKalb, and Marshall counties. And click on Jackson real quick. I want to see where this goes to. This goes until 3 a.m. this morning. So again, this is an addition to the tornado watch that was already in place. They expanded it off to the east. So again, tornado watch now for Jackson, DeKalb, and Marshall counties. But we are still watching that severe thunderstorm warning that has a possible developing tornado on it. If we can go back into that. Again, what Chase said, anything if you're west of this line, you're pretty much good to go. Our main concern is going to be with this line continuing to move to the east. And there's still some evidence here that something's trying to get going right here.
Yeah, that's a pretty
and
decent
it could
little-
be where you have multiple rotations start to develop. There's a chance that actually ended up being the case in the Florence area. It's nothing confirmed yet, but there's a chance that we ended up having possibly two tornadoes on the ground at once. One near Florence, one near Muscle Shoals. This is that same situation where you get one that develops here, you can get one that develops on the back side of this. So Toluca, you need to be in your safe spot right now, along with Valhermoso Springs. There's Highway 36 that kind of runs in this direction right here from Highway 231 in Lacey Springs, right there, the intersection with the Wavaho. It goes all the way back toward Valhermoso Springs. You have Cataco Floret Road that dives down to the south, that goes down towards that 6 Mile area in Brewer High School. This is on the northern side of that. This is northern side of Valhermoso Springs, just now crossing the Tennessee River. There is I think right towards Toluca, if I'm not mistaken, I think Chase or Fred, you might know this, but there's like there's a park right up here that's like right next to the river. I think it's somewhere in this area. I think it's right on off of Toluca Road, right here north of 36. So it's generally right in that area where you have that park that's right next to the Tennessee River. There's one circulation here. There's another one right here near Tryon, and then there's another one that's developing right here. So we'll have to watch those very closely. This one looks like it has a better chance at actually doing something because you're getting a little bit of that development ahead of it. You got a little bit of an inflow notch right here. So there's a chance that there's a developing tornado here southeast of Bluff City going towards Valhermoso Springs. Chase, what are you kind of seeing on your end? Are you seeing something that's kind of generally trending towards that?
Well,
It's kind of that southern area.
Yeah, the thing I've been really keeping a close eye on that we've been talking about is the boundary and exactly where it is and exactly how it's feeding into that. And it still is, right? We still are kind of perpendicular to it, right? I'm going to draw it here. So there's your little boundary right up here, and that kind of goes like into, whoops, I'm scribbling over here. What am I doing? Sorry, I was scribbling a little bit, but that goes like this, right? Right into it. So it's kind of going right into the inflow. Mm-hmm. That's where you kind of get those rotation chances. So I'm keeping a close eye on that because, you know, to put it one way, you don't really trust those signatures when you're looking at that. You want to err on the side of caution, and I do. I'm kind of sketched out by that personally.
By the way, just going back, if his email is chase at tnvalleyweather.com.
Oh, gee.
With this,
my scribbling, I don't have an artistic future in front of me. That's for sure.
And also remember that this is 12:50 in the morning, so we're getting we're getting tired here. So just going to say that right now. All right, so it's been a long week.
Oh, that's true.
Exactly. But as Chase was mentioning, that boundary is right here, and where it starts to kind of interact with the line, you start having a little more of an issue there. Let's get in tighter. Take a look at some of these roads. I already called out some of them, like Highway 36. You've got Bowers Road right here, Sharp Fort Road right there towards the Toluca area. A little bit down to the south, here's Highway 36 that runs just from the west of Lacey Spring. It's going down in this direction. What was I going to talk about? The park. I believe the park is up here. So this is now just to the southeast of that park that you have right along the bank of the Tennessee River there. There's a little bit of a campground right there. So it's generally right near that, just to the south of that, I believe. And this is tracking to the southeast right here towards Highway 36 in Lacey Springs. Right here, I believe this is Airport Road. Right here in Lacey Springs. If anybody remembers the old airport right there, my dad sure does. I believe that's, zoom in, there's Airport Road right here. So there's an old airport that was right here in Lacey Springs for a long time, has been unused for like several decades now, but it's still down there. People still know about where it is. You're getting close to that general area with this area of rotation. You've got the right here along Highway 36, you've got the Wavaho right there, the intersection of 36 and US 231. Before it goes up Brindley Mountain, you've got a subway in there. A lot of people know this area well and travel in this area and live out here. Here's Highway 36 moving east. Let's kind of slide to the east real quick. Excuse me, to the west.
Oh, sure.
I don't know why. Like I said, we're getting
It's a long night.
It's a long night. Slide down to the south just a little bit. That's looking a little bit better.
But we do have a couple more little spurious spots there,
yeah,
too.
that's what I'm saying. Move down to the south a little bit.
Sure.
So Highway 36, here's Union Hill Road, or excuse me, not Union Hill, Collins Hill Road. Union Hill Road is further down to the south.
Based on reflectivity, you have suspicious-looking structure all the way down to Somerville right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's another one of those broad
Or
lines.
like east of Somerville.
All right, in this case, let's do this. Course of least regret based on what we've done what's happened this evening. Do reflectivity or velocity, it doesn't matter to me. Do an entire storm track on this all the way down towards Somerville and track it to the east.
All right.
If you're in Valormoso Springs, tornado safe place now. Toluca, safe place now. Lacey Springs, safe place now. Morgan City, safe place now. Course of least regret. That's the best we can do right now. I know there's no active tornado warning, but we're seeing things very suspicious here, so we want to give you a heads up. Valormoso Springs in the next 3 minutes. Redstone Park in the next 6 minutes. Hampton Cove, 1 o'clock. Ditto Landing, 101. Lacey Springs, 101. Hobbs Island, 106. Gurley, that's going to be the far northern part. If something happens to this line, I think most of it ends up south, but still, seeing a severe weather potential there in Gurley at 109, Owens Crossroads at 109, Paint Rock at 114, New Hope at 118, Woodville at 121, Hebron at 123, Aspel at 131, Grant at 131, and Scottsboro at 138 if it makes its way into Jackson County, but that is way out of our viewing area at that point. But again, we're still monitoring several areas of rotation. If I called your name out there, you don't need to immediately get into your tornado safe spot, with the exception of probably Ditto Landing, Lacey Spring, Valormoso Spring, Morgan City, Toluca, I think it's east of you now, but stay put for the next 5 minutes. But that is a much better rotational signature that are coming and going. You get one here that's on top of Redstone Arsenal land, right close to the Tennessee River. You have another one here near Lacey Spring and Valormoso Spring, right along Highway 36. If you're in South Huntsville, I would start kind of trending in that general direction that you want to probably get, into your most interior room. And just be sure, just again, take this kind of as a necessary precaution. I would start treating this as a possible tornado warning. So I think Lily Flag south towards the river, I think that's where we'll start to see that potential for a tornado. So I would start hunkering down here in South Huntsville, especially towards Ditto Landing, where you could possibly be dealing with a quick spin up tornado. Guys, you seen anything else on the back end? That's actually looking better on that.
Yeah, it looks pretty decent there. I was just looking at the Weather Service chat just to see, kind of gauge their intentions. I'm not seeing anything there right now. But let me see here. Yeah, okay, so that's a flash flood warning. Yeah, you still got that broad area. Look at that. I mean, all the way, pretty much the entire box.
Yeah.
From, honestly, all the way up here down to West Point, right? I mean, we see that pretty broad area. We really can see that boundary much nicer now. It's right on top of the boundary.
Go circle that little notch right here. Kind of go like
oh
a
yeah,
circle.
sure.
Do a circle right here.
It's just a repeat of that. So we'll go kind of here-ish.
Yep, and now do velocity.
It's a little broad, but I see where you're looking.
That's fine.
Yeah, right there is exactly where it is.
Zoom in on that. I think that's a possible tornado could be on the ground here. That's going to get right very close to Green Cove Road right here on the south part of Huntsville. If you know where, why am I blanking on the name? There's a park down here.
There's tennis courts at that park.
Well, I played baseball there too at some point. I don't know why I'm blanking on that.
It's not too far south.
It's 1 o'clock in the morning.
Back 40.
Zoom in closer.
Yeah, let's get some of those roads there.
This is right here on Redstone Road. Here's Green Cove Road is down here, right here, as it curves off and turns into Bailey Cove Road. This is on that south end of Huntsville, right on top, if not close to the Tennessee River here, Redstone Park. You've got your Hardee's right here. You've got Exxon or Texaco gas station right there, the intersection of Memorial Parkway and Green Cove Road. Further south, you have that new Speedway down here that is that gas station before you get to Ditto Landing. This is that general area that we're talking about here, and this could be a tornado on the ground here, potentially doing damage right along the Tennessee River. This is south of Redstone Park. This is going to be right close to Green Cove Road as it makes its way towards the Arsenal. You have your gate over there. And again, this is what we're watching for a possible tornado. No tornado warning yet, but there is a very distinct signature right here on radar that does not have me feeling really good about this.
No, this looks similar, if not more impressive, to some of the signatures we had in northwest Alabama earlier tonight when we knew there were tornadoes down.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I would greatly suspect that this probably has something down on it. If it doesn't now, it could very well be very quickly. So let's go. Let's go see. I know it might be tough to tell. Let's see what CC has. That's you got inflow there. There's a little bit of something.
Yeah, it's a little hard to say just because you get more inflow noise when you're closer to the radar. But
let's do a storm track on that real quick. Just take it out just a little bit. This is going to, I think, generally kind of go this way.
Okay, let me zoom out just a tad more. There we go. Okay.
I think this is kind of more due east.
Wrong one.
What's up?
All of that lowered CC is in the inflow.
That's what I thought.
Of the line.
So about here-ish is kind of what we got.
So this is going to be right along Memorial Parkway, South Huntsville, Redstone Park now, Ditto Landing now, Hobbs Island very close to now, Owens Crossroads in about 10 minutes, New Hope at 116, Paint Rock at 122, Woodville at 126, and Grant at 128. Again, it looks like there's a developing tornado, if not already occurring here, right along Redstone Road here, just south of, just south of where you have like your Chick-fil-A, your Walmart here on South Huntsville. This is south of that general area, very close to Ditto Landing, and this could skip into parts of Morgan County. This is an extreme southern Madison, very far northeastern Morgan County type of storm, but there is a really good velocity signature here where I do suspect that if we don't have a tornado on the ground right now, that we could easily have one at any moment. So I would say if you're in this cone right here, Redstone Park, Ditto Landing, Hobbs Island, Owens Crossroads, New Hope, Paint Rock, you're kind of getting out far from that, Woodville and Grant, I would go ahead and start taking your tornado precautions just to be on the safe side. I don't think this is a big significant tornado, but a tornado is a tornado, so anything that does occur from this will do damage, and you need to be in your safe spot to ride this one out. I'd still see
and
some stuff there.
You definitely can see why it's kind of doing that. You got that boundary coming in here, folds up here.
Yep.
You got that perfect interface. So that's no surprise to see that's our key,
That's where you
our
would
culprit area. Yeah.
That's where you would have it for sure.
Looks
Do
like
we have? Are there any cameras that we have like at Ditto Landing or anything?
Not to my knowledge. I don't believe so.
Nothing that reliably up there.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, no, I don't believe so. But we got a new sweep coming in here. Let's see what how that pushes it out.
Looks like the boundary pushed just a little bit ahead of it.
And it's gonna keep doing that,
Yep.
right? Exactly, where it's a little forward, a little back, a little forward, a little back. But
Let's do this. Let's hang
Yeah.
on to it for a little bit because it is technically just about to get out of our viewing area, so we can hang on. Well, at least goes through parts of Morgan County here as we hit the 1 o'clock hour. But we're still watching a possible tornado here on the south side of Huntsville. This is well south, right along the Tennessee River. This is where you have that I say relatively new, it's been there for a while, but a lot of that subdivision that's developed here just to the north of Ditto Landing, Ditto Marina Parkway, right here that runs from Bailey Cove down towards, that is Hobbs Island Road down there.
yeah, down here.
Yep.
Yeah.
So again, that's in that general area. This is now going to be just south of Redstone Park. This is right on top of Ditto Landing. So south of Bailey Cove, south of Green Cove Road. This is getting into more rural areas here in southeastern Madison County. This is getting outside of the city limits. This is tracked from the Arsenal over the Green Cove Road area, and now is getting down towards Ditto Landing. The good thing, Chase, I'm seeing is most of this looks like it's kind of just gusting out.
Yeah, I think that's the trend we're currently looking
Yeah.
at right now.
So if there's anything, it's going to be
Mm-hmm.
in that spot still.
Yeah, and that spot's definitely getting more and more of that. Okay, there we go, new sweep, and it kind of continues that
Still
trend.
kind of broadening out.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that's the outflow racing out ahead of the
Yeah,
actual
I was about to
convection
say that.
itself.
We're starting to see that it's not getting nearly as much of the shape as it used to have, and we're starting to see that outflow sweep kind of out ahead of that. And that's
Yeah.
good news because that really decreases the chance of anything acting up there.
Yep.
So I like what I see, at least as far as trends are going right now. And it's just now moving just over Hobbs Island, just into
Yep.
just out of our area by just the hair of my chinny chin chin. I mean, really just barely. But I like what I see so far.
I do too. That's not as tight as what we saw earlier. I would not be shocked if there was a tornado with this. I haven't
yeah.
seen anything come through the Weather Service chat yet saying there's damage reports, but this did move through a relatively good populated area here in far south Huntsville. Again, that was south of the Chick-fil-A, south of the Walmart there on South Parkway, right close to Green Cove Road and where you go back towards that Redstone Arsenal gate on the south side. And again, the good news is I'm seeing this broadening out, so I don't suspect there's probably a tornado with that right now. The boundary's still kind of hooked in on it, but like Fred said, it's starting to kind of push out a little bit. So if you look at the velocity data, you can still see how it is kind of broadening out. You still have a big broad area of rotation, but you don't have something that's super duper tight, which is good news to have. Let's back out real quick and see what the rest of the line kind of looks like, because we're getting to the part to where our severe weather risk here in the Tennessee Valley viewing area is this is it right here. As soon as it gets out of Morgan County, this is going to be it. There is still a very nice thunderstorm down here, but that again is
elevated.
It's just ahead of that front, that boundary, which is good, but you're still getting a lot of lightning. You're still getting a lot of heavy rain here in Haleyville and Hamilton, but the good news is there's no severe weather with that. I do notice that at least on that northern part, they did issue a severe thunderstorm warning for Jackson County and parts of Franklin County, and it looks like there is a tornado warning here
Yeah,
that's still that cell that tracked all the way from East Mississippi.
that they don't want to give up.
It does not want to give up. This is now north of South Pittsburgh and Jasper. This is Interstate 24 that runs from Chattanooga all the way up towards Nashville. Decent little area rotation, not overly strong, just to the east of Tracy City. This is Whitewell. Again, this is way out of our viewing area, but this will eventually get close to the northern part of Chattanooga near Red Bank, Walden, and Soddy Daisy.
It's pretty
Pretty
amazing that thing's lasted that long.
It's still going.
Yeah.
And the thing is, and Frank can chime in on this too real quick, the thing is that things transitioned. It's gone from almost an individual supercell to a line embedded supercell to almost a line segment back to a supercell. It's like
It's a
bouncing
chameleon.
back and yeah, it's a chameleon.
That thing's been changing morphology like crazy.
Yeah. So again, we're still watching this very closely. What's this one have right here?
Let me zoom in there for you.
Again,
The gust front has moved out
Oh, fantastic.
now.
of
Yeah.
that entire segment right there.
Yeah.
I see
It's
that, yeah.
shifted over into Marshall County.
Okay.
And with that segment, it's completely out of Morgan County as far as the gust front goes.
Yeah, so
Fantastic.
everything in Morgan
Yes.
County is now elevated. So
Yes.
that one part was that kind of southern Madison, very extreme northern Morgan County, which still has a little bit of rotation, but you see all that bright green right here. If Chase wants to kind of draw a line right here, that's your boundary.
Kinda
So the boundary
like that, yep.
itself doesn't really attach with that area of rotation at the moment. It's just out ahead of it. You're getting spin, but I think that spin's a little on the elevated side, so it's not actually down towards the ground.
As far as Morgan County goes, the only areas that are ahead of the rain-cooled boundary now are Hulaco, and then the boundary is halfway between Hulaco and Eva. But the thunderstorms are several miles behind that.
Right.
So I think the threat is ending for Morgan County now.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You can see on the velocities.
Yeah, that's what-
Hulaco is just in Ryan Crossroads there on 67.
Yep.
That's pretty much just right there on the
That's
edge
right
of it.
there.
Yeah, exactly what Fred was saying. Yeah.
So let's do this since we're really just close to it. We're almost to 110. I imagine this is going to be completely out of here. Probably, if not by 110, we can pretty much give you an all clear by 110 because, like
Yeah.
Fred said, this is kicking out that boundary out ahead of it. You can see it. It's kind of hard to tell, but it is right here.
More clear on the
More clear on the
velocities.
velocity
Yeah.
for sure. But again, I'm not seeing anything that is attached to that. Even that rotation that we're tracking in southern Madison County, it doesn't seem like it's really attached to it anymore. But at that point, if there is something that is issued, it is out of our viewing area, and it's a southern Madison and northern Marshall County issue as opposed to a Morgan County issue. But again, we'll stay with this for a couple more minutes. What is it, 108, 107 right now? So we'll get to like 110 and just make sure that we're not missing anything that just happens to pop up. But the fact that Ryan Crossroads and Hulaco right now, that boundary, I'll put my hand right here, go back to reflectivity. That is way out
ahead of it. So that's our boundary. So
Yep.
that's good to see
as
how
Fred
far
was
back
talking
that
about.
is.
That's what is the distance from that? Do my hand back to like the
That's probably a better part of a couple miles.
let's be more than a couple
Few miles, about
Let's
3,
be a
4,
few miles,
5,
about
yeah.
3 or 4, 5 miles. So that is well out ahead of that main area of thunderstorm. So what you're going to happen, probably already in Ryan Crossroads, Hulaco, maybe towards Egypt here very soon, and Arab, is you'll get a gust of wind that comes out ahead, and it's going to feel like a pretty cool gust of wind. That's going to be that gust front that's pushing out ahead of that line of storms. That could gust on the order of maybe 30 to 40 miles per hour, so it could knock a few tree branches down. I don't think it's going to knock trees down because this area really isn't saturated to the point to where a 30 or 40 mile an hour wind gust is going to cause that, but it could cause some branches to come down, maybe for isolated power outages. But the good news is that undercuts the storms to where you no longer have a tornado risk with it. All it is just a gust of wind, and then you're just dealing with the backside rain and storms, and that's it. You don't really have anything that's of significance at that point. All right, guys, we're getting very close to that 110. Are there any more updates that you're able to give on some of the situation that has transpired today?
I'm looking back here, and we're not seeing anything too new, of course, over the next several hours. And I'm sure in the daylight we'll start seeing more reports as to that's concerned. But I haven't gotten anything too urgent over here.
I hadn't seen anything really on
Likewise.
my
I haven't either.
side. Although I don't know why my wife has left our house. at 1 o'clock in the morning?
Don't ask, don't tell.
I don't know.
Who knows why? Yeah.
Well,
Fortunately,
that
though, I'm
kind
not
of-
seeing much.
Well, that kind of makes me suspicious about, because I will say before we kind of close out here, I did have some of my in-laws and her side of the family that live in Rogersville, live in
Oh, yeah.
Anderson, live in Lexington. I hadn't heard her say anything that say that they were impacted, but the fact that we don't have a tornado warning, I know that we have a shelter that's right down the road. I don't think that she would have gone to that. So
we can, I mean, everything looks good.
there's
Yeah.
nothing that's happening back here. So again, that's just kind of off the
Off
side
topic,
here. I
but
just
yeah.
noticed that happened. So I'll get with her and just make sure that everything's okay. But again, as we watch this, it's now getting out of Morgan County.
Sorry to zoom in so tight. I'm just,
Yep.
that
That's
really
the
is
boundary.
it. Yep. It's so close. That is just the last push of that boundary out
Yep.
of our area. That's why I was zooming in so close, because we really only have like 0.01% of our area left.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a little bit of celebration dance in that respect.
Well, now that the line is 5 miles behind that,
Oh, yeah.
you can just go ahead and end the threat.
That's
with
pretty
it.
much true. Right. We
can
were
end
looking
the
at
threat
that.
because if there's anything that catches up to that, it's going to be south of here.
Yeah, way out of
It's
here,
not
right?
going to be able to catch up to all this down here
Like-
in Ryan Crossroads and Hulake.
Yeah, you can see that, and look how far ahead of
Yep.
it is. So that's
that is,
fantastic.
you're
yeah.
done at that point. The fact that you're 5 miles ahead of that main batch of rain and storms, you're done at
good
that
news.
point. So let's go ahead and back things out. Let's do a reset real quick, and then we'll go back to a watch warning map to kind of give you a broad overview of where the tornado watch is still in effect and not. We do have several flash flood warnings in place across parts of Hohenwald, Lewis County, up towards Murray County, Marshall County, on off towards Murfreesboro. No flash flood warning right now for Waynesboro, for Lawrenceburg, or Pulaski. That's good news, but there's still a lot of rainfall to come through. And remember, like we mentioned, the flash flood guidance is on the lower end of things, so it's not going to take a ton of rain for us to have flash flooding issues here across the US 64 corridor. There is a flash flood warning now for parts of Lauderdale, Colbert, and Franklin counties. What does that go to? I imagine it's going to go for several hours
Yeah,
to
4 a.m.
a.m., so it's going to be another 3 hours here. So again, all clear if you are west of this line. That includes our entire viewing area. We are still watching some of these storms off to the south, but the good news is they're kind of along and just behind that boundary too. But as they continue to track in, they will interact with some cooler air mass here in Morgan County, so that would continue to kind of push that boundary further to the southeast, but we'll just still keep an eye on it just in case. But generally, if you're west of this line here, you're having your all clear. Let's go to the watch warning map real quick, and then we'll toss you back to regularly scheduled program. And again, this will give you an idea of who's still in watches, who's not. We do not have a tornado watch in effect now for Marshall County, Murray County, Lewis County, Giles County, Lawrence County, and Wayne County. Also, no tornado watch for Colbert, Lauderdale, and Franklin counties right now. That has been allowed to expire, but we still have that tornado watch further off to the east. Huntsville, Scottsboro, Rainsboro, Fort Payne, Gunnersville, Arab, Boaz, Coleman down to Double Springs, Decatur, Hartselle, Athens, you're still technically in this right now. Moulton, you're in this right now. Double Springs and Hamilton. But again, like what we mentioned, that threat is still shifting further to the southeast. If we go real quick back to our radar, and then we'll close things out here, your all clear can be given if you're generally west of this line. So that means Fayetteville, that means Hazel Green, that means basically Huntsville, that means Decatur, that means Athens. And again, that's still a pretty hefty storm down here, but by the time it kind of reaches a little bit further to the northeast, it should be running out of steam here. So again, we'll still watch things, but west of that line, you're going to be good to go. You can go to bed. Again, tornado watches have been canceled here for Lawrenceburg down to Florence and Russellville. So again, we're starting to transition. We have been transitioning from that tornado severe threat to now a flash flooding and heavy rain risk. That's what we have for you here at 1:14 in the morning. Thanks for sticking with us here at the Tennessee Valley Weather Center. For Chief Meteorologist Fred Gossett, for Meteorologist Chase Wilson, I'm Meteorologist Taylor Plott. Thank you for joining us this evening. Stay safe out there. We'll continue to keep you advised.
You're watching the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel.